Hi everyone, welcome to Sunny Day Discussions. I am Sunny Day. Today I want to talk to you about how conservatives claim that they're the party of freedom and rights, but when in actuality they fight against freedoms and liberties and rights. For instance, obviously, abortion access. They took it away in a lot of states. And the only states that are really actually safe are the ones with non-extremist Republicans in charge, or with more of a balanced Democrat Republican leadership, or blue states. And, it was under the guise of states' rights. The state should have the right to decide. But then along comes Lindsey Graham, who starts talking about a possible federal 15-week abortion ban, without realizing that there already kind of was in Roe v. Wade. There was a compromise there, but they took that away. So there's one right that's already been stripped away. Then there is voting access. Republicans know that the more people who vote, the less likely they are to win. So they are doing everything in their power to stop people from voting. They don't want voting booths on college campuses or near college campuses because, universities are liberal indoctrination grounds. So they also know that students tend to be poor, can't travel very far, so they're making it harder for those students to vote. They are putting fewer voting booths in predominantly Democratic districts to try to limit that. They're trying to eliminate Sunday voting. They're doing terrible things, such as not allowing someone to hand out water while they're standing in line to vote. They're gerrymandering their districts to minimize the power of Democratic votes and minority votes. So there's, again, another right that they're either trying to strip or minimize. Then there is bodily autonomy. And this is predominantly directed at the trans community. The right to do what you will with your body, with decisions made between you and your doctor to do what's best for you. To transition, whether surgically, hormonally, or even just socially. They're trying to dictate how that occurs, when it can occur, and putting all sorts of restrictions on it. Kids, they're definitely trying to just ban any sort of transitional therapy. But they're even trying to limit it, if not outright ban it, with adults. They are stripping away child labor safeties. They're making it to where kids can work longer hours in less safe conditions. So they're just trying to bring back child labor, and it's there to help the corporations so they don't have to pay as much money to a child laborer as they would to an adult laborer, someone who's aware of that. They want to ban unions. Unions are there to fight for the rights of laborers, to make sure that they are paid a living wage, to make sure that they have a safe working environment. Unions gave us the weekends. Unions made it to where the doors aren't locked while you're on duty. So unions are a good thing. It empowers the people and not the corporation. But of course they don't like that. So parental rights. They're taking away parental rights under the guise of parental rights. For instance, telling schools what books they can and cannot have in the school libraries for parental rights, completely ignoring the fact that there are many parents out there who would not ban their kids from reading these books. So by fighting for parental rights, they're stripping parental rights, because they don't mean parental rights for all, they mean parental rights for those who agree with them. It's so frustrating to hear them shout about freedoms and how the Democrats are taking it away, when there really have been no rights that Democrats have actually taken away. I've heard a lot about, they're coming for your guns, the Democrats are going to take your Second Amendment rights away. And I've said it before, no one's coming for your guns. No one's trying to strip you of your Second Amendment rights. But what you're doing is stripping people of their rights to suit your agenda, your religious and political beliefs. And that's not okay. And these next topics I'm going to go over, I know is not all Republicans, but there are some extremists who want to pursue these ideas, such as reinstating racial segregation. Well, racism doesn't exist anymore, so therefore we don't need to be desegregated. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. It's just flat out racism. They want it back the way it was, the good old days. Eliminating same-sex marriage. Because their line was, it will erode traditional marriage and family values. But you know what? That didn't happen when same-sex marriage was legalized. That did not happen. So they don't really have a justification for it in their own little warped world. There is no justification to ban same-sex marriage, but in their own little warped world, they don't even have that justification anymore. So therefore, they just say everyone who is a member of the LGBTQ plus community are groomers. So they've moved on from complaining about the sanctity of marriage to just flat out just dehumanizing and accusing an entire community of horrible acts with zero evidence. Some talk of banning birth control. Well, you ban birth control, you're going to have more unwanted pregnancies, which means there's going to be more women who are going to try to go to a state where abortion is still legal. You're going to have more teen pregnancies. I mean, studies have shown that when you have access to birth control, access to sexual education, teen pregnancies go down. Abortion rates go down. No-fault divorce. There's talk about eliminating no-fault divorce, meaning that if someone wants to leave a marriage, they have to prove that in some way there was some sort of abuse. Now, that's really hard to do when the abuse is emotional or mental. Can't really prove that very easily. When you have a savvy spouse who knows not to hit where it shows. However, with the advent of, cameras on your phones, it's a lot easier to secretly record and prove that, but it still is airing out the dirty laundry and causing a lot of unnecessary expenses, as well as trauma. It's just unnecessary. If someone's not happy in a marriage, let them get out of it, regardless. Maybe they just fell out of love. Maybe they were forced into a marriage too soon because they got pregnant. Just stay out of people's lives. And then there's even been talk of eliminating interracial marriage. With Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, I'm not sure how far that would go, if it's even brought up in any way, shape, or form. So far, these last few items have been just a few select extremists on the Republican side. But it could gain momentum and it could gain popularity. Luckily, when we have the majority, maybe not progressives, but people who have the sense of letting people just live their lives and not trying to dictate every last detail, not trying to dictate who people can and cannot love, who people can and cannot marry, what books people can and cannot read, what procedures they can and cannot have, even with doctor approval. Seeing a therapist because they're transgender, they're trying to ban that. Stay out of people's lives. You're not the party of freedom. You're not the party of civil rights and civil liberties. You are the opposite. There are many words that can describe the Republicans that feel this way. And yes, I know there's a lot that disagree with all of this and the direction that the party is going. But the words that come to mind to describe the people who support Republicans that believe this and the Republicans who believe that. And that's authoritarian, fascist, and if it's in the name of God, theocratic. And that's not a direction we should be heading. And hopefully with the numbers of people who are against that, and with enough people on the judiciary that, whether Republican or democratically nominated, know the law, trust the law, and will follow the law, a lot of these won't come to fruition or be as extreme as they could be. But it needs to stop. We need to vote, give them a resounding no to these policies that they're trying to implement, to these restrictions, to these freedom bans, if you will. Vote in a resounding way to tell them we're not okay with that, and those kind of policies are not welcome here. So, end of the video, vote. No matter how big, how small, how inconsequential the election may seem, your vote counts. Read everything you can get your hands on. Reading is power. Reading is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Republicans hate that. That's why they want to ban books. That's why they want to defund public schools. And that's why they don't like universities. So read. Gain knowledge, gain power. I hope you like, I hope you share, and I, above all, hope you subscribe. I'll see you next time.